Hi there, and welcome to this session on note-taking from the Academic Skills Team at UWS. My name is Linda Riches, and I'm one of the Academic Skills Advisors at the university. In this short video, I'm going to discuss why note-taking is a good skill to develop. I will also look at a couple of easy ways of making your note-taking more effective, as well as advising on where you can get further help and advice. And before we start, I'll just mention that the slides on the video have subsections at the left-hand side so that you can easily find a particular section if you need to go back and watch it again. One of the most important skills you will need whilst at university is the ability to create notes effectively. Developing good note-taking skills will help you to organise and recall information when writing coursework and preparing for exams. It will also allow you to keep track of your reading, and it will mean you're much more prepared for assessments and assignments when they occur. There are lots of different methods for effective note-taking, and it is worth taking the time to find out what works best for you. One method of note-taking is the Cornell method. It was first developed in the 1960s, but it's still used today because of the simple way it helps students to take effective notes, and because it can be used in a variety of different environments, from reading a textbook to physical lectures and online classes. The Cornell method of note-taking involves taking a piece of paper, dividing it into 3 sections, and for this you will need a notepad, preferably lined, and a pen and pencil. Many people use pencil as it allows them to make changes if required. So hopefully you can see on the screen there that the page has been divided into 3 sections. At the left-hand side is a column called the Q, or the questions column, and that's where you can write questions or make comments either during or after a lecture. The notes section, the main part of the page, allows you to write the facts from the lecture or the facts from the book that you're reading. And the summary section at the bottom allows you to write a quick summary of what you've learned, the sort of bigger picture overall. Writing that key information down as you're learning is designed to help you retain more information. And the idea is that it's a more active way of learning that keeps you more engaged. So as I said, you can use this in a variety of settings. So for example, in a lecture, you can use the notes section to write down the key ideas of what the lecturer is saying. But you don't need to write down every word. So you could use abbreviations, you could use symbols, you could use images to keep up. And then you use the cues section either during the lecture or maybe shortly afterwards, where you write down any questions or comments that occur to you about what's being said. That helps you to have an analytical approach while you're learning because you're thinking more about what the lecturer has been saying. And that cues section can also help you decide if there's other areas that you still need to study. The summary section is where you look at the bigger overall picture of what you've learned. So it can be quite difficult to summarise, but it's well worth taking the time to do this and try and do it as soon as you can after the lecture. It allows you to take facts, summarise them into main ideas, and that in turn helps with your learning. And reading that summary will help you make connections between that lecture and maybe the next lecture on the same topic. You can arrange your sections in this type of note-taking in whatever way works for you. So have a go at using it and see how you get on. Mind mapping is another effective way of taking notes, which some students like because it's a much more visual way of learning. And you can do this using paper and a pen, or you can use mind mapping software such as Inspiration. And Inspiration is available on all UWS campus computers for students to use. So it's a very visual idea of taking notes. So you have a central idea in the middle of the page, and then you have subsections coming from that central area. So you can use different things to illustrate that. You can have images, you can have coloured highlighted areas, keywords, whatever is going to work for you. So you can adapt that mind map very much to suit, and you can use them to plan essays, you can use them to take notes in a class or just for revision. This example here, which is taken from Inspiration software, shows a much more detailed mind map where what the person has done is they have used images to help them remind them of key areas, and they've used more text when they've needed to write some more detailed ideas. And you can see there they've made connections between the different areas. And that helps you build up a picture of what you need to know. And sometimes with mind mapping, it's quite useful for revision because you can try and recreate that mind map without looking at it. And if there are parts that you're not able to recreate, that suggests that's an area you maybe need to go and revise again. In terms of note-taking software, there are quite a lot of options available these days. So if you would prefer to make your notes in this way, do have a look and see what's available. There are options like Evernote, Glean, OneNote and Google Keep, which are worth a look. Some of these will be paid for apps or software and some of them will be free. So if you're not sure whether to invest in a paid bit of software, have a look and see if there are any free options that do the job, or try a sort of trial version of it to see how you get on with it. The one advantage of using software for note taking is that you can bring together lots of different areas. So for example, you can bring together a PowerPoint, useful web links, information from your course and put it all in the one place. And remember that the academic skills team can see students to advise about assistive technology. And we do have assistive technology appointments to discuss technology options for note-taking, mind mapping, or software that can read text out to you. So if that's something that you're interested in, by all means email us at skills@uws.ac.uk. Some final note-taking tips. Always make sure that the text you're taking notes from is relevant for your needs. So is that source up to date? Is it helping you to explore the topic or answer the question that you need to answer? And make sure you record all the details that you need, especially with regarding referencing. So use the Harvard Cite Them Right referencing book to help with this, and that's available through the library online. I've also included the link at the end of these slides that takes you directly to that referencing link. Also remember to organise your notes using keywords and subheadings. So use highlighter pens, use different key words and subheadings to just help you keep your notes organised, and that can really help. Finally, remember that the academic skills advisors are here to support you. So if you want a chat about note taking, about effective ways of doing that, you could book a 30-minute one-to-one appointment with us. If there's a few of you who want to talk in a small group, then you can book a small group appointment just by emailing us at skills@uws.ac.uk. Also do have a look at our careers and skills web pages, which have lots of academic skills advice for you to read, watch and listen to. And we have a podcast, A Wee Blether About, where academic skills advisors discuss a range of academic skills topics, offering advice and tips. And as I mentioned earlier, I've put the link there for the UWS referencing guide, which is really useful to follow while you're taking notes from different sources. I hope you found that helpful, and thanks for listening.